because you play all sorts of different genres. Is that an important thing to have?
It's very important, Paul. You know, coming up there, Chicago had, man, we played polkas, we played blues, we played funk,
right.
we played jazz. There was a group called the AACM, Association for Advancement of Creative Musicians. And that was with Phil Coran and Louis Satterfield and Earth, Wind and Fire, the horn players, and Don Myrick. All those cats were in this art ensemble of Chicago in this organization. So that was one thing, and there was a place called the Transitions East. So we would go and check those cats out, and they'd call us in. You know, we'd peek through the window and they'd call us in to play. So it was always, different. You had all the blues clubs.
Of course.
And then they had jingles. Jingles, you could do commercials, and it was so much, so many opportunities.
So you were in the studio, you were playing live, and you were honing your chops that way, just by doing what you do.
People were giving us breaks.
Right.
Especially after they found out that we did a record with Miles. Then Ramsey Lewis called, and we get more sessions, and it was just chilling.
Similar to what happened with me with Prince. Once you get that nod from Prince or someone at that level, people go, "Oh, he must be able to play because he's working with Miles."
It's validation,
Exactly
validation.
right.
Yeah. I call it Miles Davis University.
Tell me about Miles Davis University, man. How was he your teacher? How did he give you that?
You didn't have time to be nervous.
Yeah.
We were cutting Human Nature, and the drummer that was playing Human Nature didn't want to play it because he said that music is beneath you, Miles. You shouldn't play funk. So he left.
Right.
He left the studio. We were at the record plant in New York. So I was in the booth, and he said, "Nev, get on the drums." So they took his drums out, and they put Buddy Williams, a session drummer in New York. Buddy had a kit in the next studio, so they moved Buddy's drums in, and I played Human Nature. I mean, and it just happened just like that.
Dang.
What am I gonna do? Say, "Oh no, let me think about it." He said, "No."
No, there ain't no thinking about it.
Hell no. Oh, can you say hell no?
You can say that.
Yeah. No.
So he threw you right into the fire, and then you responded, and he loved it. So he was about the spontaneity.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny with different artists because the reason this is so interesting for me is I really see how Prince modeled a lot of different things in his life after your uncle. And there's a couple different things that were opposite, though. And one of them was, especially when I was in the group, Morristy in the time, I grew up in a bebop family. So, and a drummer, by the way. And so my instruction from my family was play who you are, play what you want, right? Right, Kenny Lee? All right, so that's how I grew up. When I got into the time, it was like, erase all that. Here's your part. Play it well, play it funky, do this. Now, it seems to me that Miles had the philosophy of practice on stage.
Yeah.
Because I've read that
Yeah, because you guys rehearse. Prince liked to rehearse a lot, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And it's
Miles?
funny. He would just play the set list down one or two times, and then and then that was it. He'd call it, and everybody would be nervous at rehearsal, and then he'd say, "Okay, y'all got it," and then he would leave, and then as the tour took place, then he would shape the songs, shape the set list, switch the set list, and that's when the amazement of the creative flow of Miles happens, That's why he never liked to take after one or two takes in the studio, he called a session because
that was it.
He said the freshness and the creativity was out,
I totally agree.
Because then you're just going through the shit and you're not really...
by the 9th or 10th take, it's all gone. Yeah. And then people revert back to the first take.
Yeah,
anyway.
then your focus is not on the music.
Exactly, right. It's on the click or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So tell me how you transition from just playing but playing drums into a co-producer role. How did that come about? For You're Under Arrest, didn't you?
He just wanted another set of ears.
Okay.
That co-producer thing is like it's the musical directions of music by Miles Davis. So that's what I respect. What we would do, Bobby Irving and I, or whoever was co-producing, we would take the tapes to him at the end of the night, and then he would critique them and tell us what to do the next day.
Right.
And he was nice enough to give us that credit, But it was always under the direction of what he wanted to do, direction of Miles Davis.
But it was, like you said, a second set of ears.
Yeah. Well, it was second set of ears, and then Bobby Irving's another set of
Yep,
ears.
yep.
And then he would bounce things off of us. But he had the ultimate, of course,
Sure.
the final say.
But that's nice to get that nod as well as a co-producer.
Yeah, and you learned a lot, man. You learned, I learned with my band to spark the creativity of the cats. Don't beat it in their head. And let them be free. Let them breathe, and then you come up with some hip things. Keep it open.
Exactly, man.